Hello, and welcome back to the Spiritual Warrior Experience. A quick thank you to the newest Patreon supporters, Tassos, Wilhelm, and Suzanne. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a link to the Patreon below. Membership includes access to the Discord community, where we discuss a wide variety of spiritual topics and dream interpretations, things of that nature. Your support is deeply appreciated and means I can spend more time and energy creating these videos, particularly longer form videos that go in depth on the deeper esoteric topics. Let's begin with the spiritual foundation diagram. This first layer represents a vital foundation, our daily meditation practice plus an equal mixture of esoteric study, kind of a delicate balance. We can see on this layer of reality diagram, which was kindly provided by Jean from Astral Doorway, that this relates with unconscious dreams. These two diagrams are interconnected in this way. As we strengthen awareness through daily meditation and through study, we notice more and more compulsive thoughts. We realize that we identify with those thoughts, like an animal fascinated with a mirror or a reflection. As days and weeks go by, our meditation practice helps us identify less with thoughts. This translates into fewer recurring mechanical dreams and nightmares of daily life. And this is a healthy evolution. We want to reduce unconsciousness and begin to lucid dream and eventually to astral project. However, awakening our awareness through meditation is only half of this lowest foundation. We must balance meditation with study. This is exceptionally important at the lowest foundation because it supports all our efforts of awakening into higher layers of reality. It also means keeping a meditation journal and a dream journal to review at later stages of our development. A good source of foundational esoteric study is the Gnostic Method app, a web app you can access on any computer or mobile device. Another great resource is the Kundalini series about the 7 primary chakras on Astral Doorway. Also worth reading is Treatise on Revolutionary Psychology by Samael Aun Weor. Another wonderful book on meditation is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This is best experienced as an audiobook while in a meditative state. And of course, the first 2 videos on this channel cover the first 2 foundations on this diagram. I'll provide links to all these resources in the description below. The second layer of our spiritual foundation builds on our daily meditation practice and esoteric studies to gain direct experience or gnosis of self-observing our egos in action. We begin to see that egos are conditions that modify consciousness, falsifying our awareness. The last video on ego death covers this topic extensively, so I won't dive into much detail here. Dissolving our egos also takes time to develop. We do see some immediate results, yes. However, over weeks and months of practicing ego dissolution, we see even greater results. Eventually, we even experience profound results, but more on that in a minute. Comparing the spiritual foundation diagram with the layers of reality diagram, we can see that with this second lower foundation, lucid dreaming begins to occur a little more commonly. We might begin a dream in first person, but then our awareness will shift into a subjective third-person narration like a movie camera. Later, it might shift back as well. We start gaining small levels of control over our environment, perhaps, either unconsciously or consciously. We may have personal realizations that reveal to us more about our subconscious egos that we weren't even aware of. And we begin to receive dream symbols, which is where studying the Gnostic Arcanum and Kabbalah are particularly helpful, but we'll dive more into that in a future video. At this second layer of foundation, if we choose to retain and transmute our sexual energy, it begins to make a profound difference. It will supercharge these efforts. Imagine installing a fusion reactor, a portable star, into your energy body. This will amplify awakening consciousness in meditation, the dissolution of egos, the frequency and intensity of lucid dreams, and eventually astral projections. I'll leave a link to a video from Astral Doorway that dives into all the details on this in case you're interested. Now we arrive at the third foundational layer. At some point here, we're given a few astral experiences almost as a gift. These are like the trailer to a movie or a video game. They're designed to pique our interest. Eventually, however, if all we do is create egos of desire around these astral experiences, lusting for more like gluttons, or pridefully sharing them without working them out psychologically, they can stop until we learn the lessons they're trying to teach us. They can also diminish or stop if we take no interest in them or become unconsciously afraid of them. This is where the significance of keeping a dream journal becomes unquestionable. Not only does having the journal at our bedside set intentions to remember more dreams and more details of those dreams, but it allows us to review particularly strange lucid dreams in meditation. And this is where having our meditation journal is also essential. Sometimes, in a lucid dream or even an astral projection, something else beyond us will seem to take control. This is our innermost being, our consciousness that permeates our multidimensional bodies. When this happens, we're guided to experience places, people, and audio or visual messages. They're almost always symbolic, allegorical, and have very important details for our progress. If we try to interpret them literally, they'll make no sense. But if we've built a solid lower foundation of esoteric study along with our meditation practices and recording things in our journals, we can eventually decode the messages intuitively. We can review older dreams and realize days, months, or even years later that they truly meant something that we didn't even realize that they meant. If you're struggling to remember your dreams upon waking, a very powerful mantra for helping to remember dreams during meditation is Ra Om Ga Om. You want to emphasize the Om on each of these words. And focus on reciting this mantra mentally while intending to remember your dreams. And eventually, with enough practice, bits of dreams will flash into the mind. It's really a good description of it, really is like dynamite for remembering dreams buried in our subconscious. It's this process where those early gifts become lessons or homework. And if back in the physical we meditate and comprehend those dreams, we can work on whatever that homework was teaching us or attempting to teach us. This is usually to do with our egos, but sometimes about our purpose in life, our previous lives in karma, and how that relates to this life and our current karma, egos, etc. If we do the work our innermost being gives us, we will progress. We will gain deeper experiences. And more gradually, our consciousness will awaken both within the physical and beyond. To give some examples of these symbols, we might see ourselves riding a bicycle and struggling. This is likely a message about a need to achieve balance. We may need to balance our first foundation more, or alternatively, we might need to work more with our first two chakras in order to balance those more. Perhaps both. It might even have to do with just being more present and aware during the day and not so identified with thoughts and emotions. Another example would be interacting with a dog. That typically has something to do with our intuition. Perhaps we need to work on our intuition more, or perhaps we are working on our intuition more. It just depends on the context of the dream. Another example would be if we're in a combat situation or fighting with a person with a weapon, whether it's a gun or a sword in a dream, and particularly in a lucid dream when we're very aware of this, or it's a narrative dream, that has to do with successfully fighting the egos or unsuccessfully. I guess it really depends on who wins the fight in the dream. And that, again, is another message. However, dreams are highly personal, and while receiving help from others is great, the best way to truly comprehend them is by practicing deeper meditation and being patient. A foundation needs constant maintenance, depending on the wear and tear from the elements. In our case, the elements are the energies we're around every day, the wind of unexpected change, the rains of misfortune and suffering, the fires of anger and passion. If the environment of our life, our psychological gym, is very challenging, this is actually a great opportunity. It means we can build a stronger foundation. And because everything in the universe has a rhythm, if we keep working on our foundations and our homework, we will eventually get to a period of calmer environmental energies. However, if we stop maintaining these foundations, then our third layer of awakening in dreams, of things like astral projection, can and will begin to crumble to the elements, or they won't even start at all. Remember, even the Buddhas meditated their whole life, up until their final physical days, and likely beyond. And speaking of beyond, to reach that beyond, to experience greater realities, we absolutely must continue to build and reinforce our foundations over months and years, and for many of us, even lifetimes. It is said among the Gnostic and esoteric teachings that most, if not all, masters did not become so in a single lifetime. We all start somewhere. Furthermore, with this final layer of foundation, while it may seem like an end goal, it is not an end goal. It is only a goal. There are mysteries beyond mortal comprehension, but we can just save discussing those topics for other videos, as that gets into things that are far more complex than what we're talking about here. Best suited for a series of videos all on its own. So just remember, this whole experience is non-linear. And what we've discussed in this video is related to what some call initiation. However, it's important we recognize that initiation doesn't happen to us, to the quote unquote I that we mistakenly call myself or me. That I is merely our egos, our psychic aggregates, like shadow puppets pretending to be a real individual. No. This process that some call initiation, it happens to our innermost being, our spirit, our multidimensional consciousness and bodies. It's beyond the ego. So that's it for this video. If you're finding these videos helpful, have questions about topics discussed or suggestions for future videos, please leave those in the comments. If you do decide to support the channel on Patreon, also feel free to ping me in the Discord community. I'm happy to help interpret dreams, astral projections, provide spiritual advice, or just discuss concepts in these videos. It's also a great place to give feedback and input for future videos. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.